Those who have 25 years of service in this outstanding group will have a brick placed in the Walk of Memories, and those are Mary Frances Gazaway, Tom Hester, Paul Johnson, James Newell, Glenda Seegers, Jerry Center, Jimbo Humphreys. So as we will get those bricks placed for your dedicated service of 25 years. And I would like to thank Dr. Bunch and her staff for organizing this event. It just does not happen, and it's when we put something on of this nature, certainly we want it first class. Thank you, Dr. Bunch. Now, let's let the fun begin. I have the distinct honor of and privilege of starting the program by recognizing Jerry Center. My, oh my, and he scared me a couple of weeks ago in his, he does have a devious personality trait. And I just kind of smarted off to him, Dorothy, and I said, now I'm going to get to introduce you and make comments. And he said, I get to make the last comments. So I reminded him of that, and it's somewhat difficult, really. And I've known Jerry since he got here in 1970. That is Thomas Jerry Center, his whole name. He's somewhat difficult you would think he's easy to talk about, and then somewhat it is challenging to talk about him because he is a man of certainly many dimensions. And let me tell you a little bit about him. He attended Itawamba IHS, got an AA degree from Itawamba Community College in 1974. Mississippi College in 1976. He got his BS degree with majoring in accounting, and he graduated 15th in a class of 16. Well, I'm lying already, he graduated 15th out of a class of 424. He received the accounting award and graduate with special distinction. And I can tell you over the years as he's worked for the college, it's just standard operation procedure that we get these notices from the State Department that says that we found no issues with the audit. It's just the way he does things. He also worked at Kraft Office Products in Jackson as a bookkeeper, Touch Ross Company in Jackson, at Colburn Accounting, and then he was accountant for 4 years, ICC Fulton, internal auditor. And then he has served as business manager and director of business services. And if I'm not mistaken, while he was at IJC then, he was Mr. IJC. Who was Miss IJC?
I don't remember.
Selective memory right there, I would think. If you had to describe Jerry Center, first of all, you would call him the Rock of Gibraltar. I mean, on every front. To me, and I got a feeling that anybody works with him and that knows him, he is the most trusted man I know. Nobody doubts Jerry Center. He just permeates that kind of integrity. He's a dedicated family man. He's a dedicated Christian. He has a sense of humor sometimes that's hard to find. You don't know whether to laugh or not, and sometimes when I laugh, he didn't mean it to be funny. And some when I don't, he'll say that was a joke, He's very detailed and thorough in his work. And I'll just give you an example. We just had a cabinet meeting yesterday in which we were going through the board policy manual that was probably 300 pages. And so this goes on 6 hours. We're in there. And so we're way ahead trying to speed through it, and he's 20 pages behind showing us all the stuff that we overlooked. And he'd say, go back to DRC 1, 2, this is wrong. So he backed us all the way back up. Dedicated to his family, wonderful family, and you can see that when you have opportunity to talk with him, how much he means, that they mean to him, and that I'm sure that they feel the same way about him. He can be brutal sometimes in his opinion. I mean, there's not any suggest or recommend or things like that, ooh, he can put it out there and your shins will bleed. And when he does that, you listen. And all of us listen to Jerry Center. One thing about him, he's never misunderstood. Never. There's no one side or the other. You're going to get it all right there. And like I said, sometimes he tells really good jokes. And boy, sometimes you've told some bad ones too. I'm sorry, but that is true. I believe he could be a great poker player. Dr. Cole and I have talked about this before. You go in there and you ask him a question, and there's no expression, none. You don't know what he's thinking, but eventually it will come out. And I know, being the strong Christian man that you are, you would never gamble like that. But if you slip up, and I would take and let you tell me how to play my hand, okay? I can't speak for everyone that has worked with Jerry Center. But for me, he's made me a better person. For example, he sets everything a great example in all aspects of his life and work. I feel certain that all of you who know him and cherish him and value his friendship are better people because of him. Thank you, Jerry, for a job well done at Itawamba Community College. You always got walking papers, and we love you. And we expect you to come see us. Jerry Center. Okay, I'll let you make your comment and then I'll present this to you. Okay.
I appreciate all of you coming. I've got a long list of jokes, so those of you who are standing, you probably need to be seated. There is one thing about my relationship with Etowama Community College that probably very few of you know. Some of you do know, but very few of you would know this. Back in the spring of 1974, actually it was in January of 1974, I was a sophomore here. I walked into the library and I saw one of the prettiest girls I think I'd ever seen. She turns out to be my wife for 41 years. Now, what you need to understand, and if Dr. Seegers was here, the comment I wanted to make was I was checking out more than library books that day. But because of Diane, I have my family with me. Tim, who is propped up against the pole back there, his lovely wife, Megan, their son, Cole, should be right in there somewhere, and Ryan Clare, who is here but will not make an appearance until August, I believe. That's correct. Then I have my oldest son, Joseph, his lovely wife, Kelly, and their two children, Maddox and Marley. So I'm proud to have you with us. During my time here, I have been fortunate enough to deal with a lot of folks who are at this point of life when they were looking at making the decisions about retirement. I've sat across the desk from several who are having problems, some of them with paperwork, some of them with trying to decide what options they were going to take. Is it time for me to file Social Security? How do I get health insurance if I retire? A lot of different questions have come about. As has been said, I've been a Christian since I was 9. I try to bathe all my in prayer, and so there's really not been any problems with me making those decisions. I know it's time for me to retire. It is time for me to move on and see what else the Lord wants me to do. My problem, though, there has been a problem, and that problem is trying to have people understand that I'm going to retire. For example, after Diane and I had made this decision, I called my two sons. I said, I'm going to retire. They thought I said I was going to expire. They start looking for life insurance and wills. I called Wayne Sullivan, who was my first boss here at ICC. Wayne bossed me for 4 years. Didn't take, but he tried. I called Wayne. I tell him I'm going to retire. Wayne thought I said I was going to perspire. He sent maintenance over to check my air conditioner. I called my pastor, Brother Wayne Haynes, David Haynes, who was here. I don't know that he is still now or not. But I called him to let him know I was going to retire. He thought I said inspire. I wanted to inspire. And so he started naming off jobs I should do at the church. The one, though, that really got me was I have been fortunate enough to serve 4 different presidents, all of them with different personalities, all of them with their own way of doing things, all of them, in my opinion, very successful at what they do. 2 of those had retired. Mr. Boggs and Dr. Cole, you have their paintings there. I decided I should let them know. So I called both of them and told them I was going to retire. Evidently, they thought I said I was going to rehire. Both of them had been working for the last year. There was one other person, though, that I had to call, and that was Johnny Mann. Johnny is here somewhere. Johnny and I worked together for roughly 29 to 30 years, side by side, co-workers, cohorts, get people in trouble, get them out of trouble. We did a little bit of everything. Johnny was the only one that got it. When I called Johnny Mann, there he is. When I called Johnny Mann, I told Johnny, I'm going to retire. Johnny said, quick as that. Well, it's about time. You hadn't done any work for the last 10 years anyway. ICC has meant a lot to me. I wish I had time to name names and tell you stories. I really don't. I have always been fortunate to serve with an excellent group of people. The Business Services Division, in my opinion, is the best. Not only now, but over this 36 years that I have been here. I have been fortunate. I am blessed. And wherever I go and whatever I do, I will always sing the praises of Etowah Community College. Thank you for coming.
All right, this is presented to Mr. Jerry Center in appreciation for loyal and dedicated service at Etowah Community College, 7/1/1980 to 5/31/2016. Thank you so much.
Evidently, Jerry was very nervous because that's the first time I've ever heard Wayne Haynes called a pastor. It was a good one. It was good. It is my pleasure today to recognize a good friend and a co-worker, Duran Fikes. Duran started working with the college in about 2003, if I remember my notes correctly from earlier today. And Duran is one of those people that always does the best he can at whatever he's doing. And to give you some idea of the challenges Duran faced, he was responsible for supervision of housekeeping for 3 different campuses. And I won't talk about the female gender, but it was overwhelmingly female. And not once did Duran come in and say, I've got a problem that I can't handle. Now, any man that can supervise 40 women and not have a problem is way above my pay grade. That's all I can say about Duran. But Duran did an outstanding job for the college. He brought the institution to a level of maintenance and service that I think is exceptional at any institution, especially a public institution that operates with limited resources and funding. He took a lot of pride in the appearance of the college. Over the years, there have been numerous people who have come to the campus and commented on how clean the facilities are. And that doesn't just happen. That is a chore, even in the best of circumstances, when you have unlimited resources, but Joanne did it on a fairly modest budget and with a fairly sparse staff. Dr. Cole, even one time, got the idea that we needed to kick service up in fiscal plan a little bit, and he called in and hired a consultant. You remember that? Well, I'm going to remind you. And he wanted to assess three things. He wanted to assess the level of maintenance of the college, the upkeep of the equipment. He wanted to assess the housekeeping for the college, and he wanted to assess grounds. The guy on his exit interview told Dr. Cole, I've been to a lot of institutions, but I've never been to an institution where I could say that I have no comments about grounds, maintenance, or housekeeping. He said, you've got one of the best managed facilities I've seen. Now, that is a credit to a number of people, and it primarily is credited to two people. One of those two people is Joanne, and the other one is our director of fiscal plant, who does an outstanding job also. There's only a handful of times in my life that I have cried, Jerry. Every time it was either to excruciating pain or great grief. When Joanne came into my office and told me he was retiring, I tried to talk him out of it, and after I realized I couldn't, I started crying, because I knew that it was going to be very difficult to replace Joanne and keep the level of services at a standard that everyone is accustomed to. So I want to say here to everyone that I have never worked with anyone who is as conscientious and does his best to do the job that Joanne Fikes does. And I want Joanne to know that as a friend, I appreciate him and love him, and that I appreciate all the services that he's given to the college over this past 13 years. Mr. Joanne.
Wow. What can you say? First of all, I've had some experience. In the family, we had 3 daughters. So that tells you the female gender, that was just a normal thing. I wouldn't have known any better what to have done. But the opportunity, and first of all, I thank God for my health and for blessing me all these years to be able to do what I've done and to accomplish the things. Without him, you know, we're nothing. Second is my wonderful wife. In April the 8th, we celebrated 44 years. So, and I hope we've got many more to go. She's gone through a lot of shifts and a lot of different works and jobs and stuff, and has stuck with me very faithfully. And then, Mr. Sullivan, I came for an interview, and I've been working at Mueller Brass, and I was trying to better myself, and he took a chance on me, and it has been a relationship that I'll always remember. Very, very appreciative to you, and Dr. Cole was president at that time. I've also got two of my two brothers, only two brothers, Wendell and Lyndall, and Lyndall's wife Virginia are here today, and I'm thankful for that. Leah and Marcia, Leah Case and Marcia Jones, and Sherry Alsop. Sherry lives in Texas, and she didn't get to make it. They graduated, went through ICC, so it's made the circle. But quickly, I left here at the young age of 18 and went to the big city, Sacramento, California. Worked on a huge farm. Now, this country boy we had a little tractor like a toy, but this thing had air-conditioned heater and a cow bonnet and a radio. I mean, it was uptown. And I enjoyed that. And I left that and went to San Francisco International Airport. Worked for a company who contracted work for the airlines. We refueled. We did everything but get the passengers on. And I think I was about like 21 then, was in management, and there was 5 different nationalities of people that I had to deal with. So I had to grow up very quickly. And me being from the South, they figured that, well, you know, he don't know what's going on. So that put extra pressure on me to know to perform. But with all of this said, and then we managed a restaurant similar to Denny's in Sacramento, and then came back here. We've owned 2 different businesses that we started, J&J Garbage. My wife helped me. In fact, I'll tell this little one. One night we were picking up boxes in Fulton. We contracted the work for the businesses, and we was down at the old Walmart, backed into the loading dock, and she fell off of the dock and broke some ribs. So I gather her up, and we go to the emergency room at the old hospital in the garbage truck. But you got to do what you got to do. So she stuck with me, and then I started Joren's Lock and Key Service, and I still maintain to do that. All the physical plant employees, especially housekeeping, and when I pull out the little book, they know what's going on and what's happened. So I keep this pretty handy. Now, sometimes I can't remember what I wrote down, Mr. Collins, but I make a stab at it. But I want to quickly just mention them if I can. At Belden, it's Pam Thornton, Tina Gwynn, Rodney Patterson, and Ronnie Kelly. On the Tupelo campus, the fine health science building. Mr. Plunkett, you know that's super. If you haven't been there, it's worth your effort just to go see what ICC has at the health science building. Tina Montgomery and Teresa Crone. Then over on the main campus, Melissa Evans, Jerry Lynn Brophy, Chris Trice, Sherry Holmes, missing one. Melissa Evans, I got her, Teresa, Jerry Lynn, Sherry, Chris, that's it. And Jimmy Weeks, not Jimmy Weeks, Jimmy Adams, who's taking my place. And you'll see Jimmy, his smile gets there before he does. Super guy, he will be fine. Just support him in any way you can. And then on the Fulton campus quickly, Gerald Graham, Denise Barrett, Linda Campbell, Demetrius Green, Candy Ernest, Kathy Ashley, Jeremy Thomas, Rose Pasquale, Melissa Johnson, Teresa Brumley, Pauline Albee, Lisa Thompson, Brenda Lindsay, Sarah Vassar, Buddy Wayne Haynes, and Sakina Hill. Without these people helping, I couldn't have accomplished any of those things that Mr. Sullivan said. So I'll always remember them and the times that we had together, the ups and downs and the fun that we had, but it's been special, and I thank you so much, and the faculty for putting up with me. And I'll say this and then I'll quit, I promise. One time, I don't remember what year it was, Mr. Sullivan, you probably remember it, I was fussing about the floor and somebody had done something right, and he said, I am surprised that you don't have people to take their shoes off when they come in the door. And that would have been fine with me because it would have been a lot less work. I thank you so much.
Mr. Duran's plaque says, I think, the same thing that Jerry's did, but we're going to read it anyway. It's presented to Joren Fikes in appreciation for loyal and dedicated service to Etowah Community College, 7/28/2003 to 4/30/2016. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. When I looked at this push card and saw the names that's on it, I realized, Mr. President, there's a lot of brilliance, dedication, and loyalty going out the door. And this college is going to miss this this pool of brain power here. And the fellow that I'm about to talk about in a minute is one of those fellows and a great guy. But earlier today, we had a noon foundation board meeting. And at that board meeting, Mr. Eaton recognized Mr. Center and brought him up and said that he was the most trustworthy person on the cabinet. And Wayne Sullivan and I looked at each other and said, "Oh, Lord, I wonder if he's going to name us as the most untrustworthy." So thank you for the unspoken word, Mr. President, there. Jimmy Belt has had a long history with Etowah Community College. He has earned a couple of degrees with us as a student in computer technology. He began his first employment with the college in 1984, working in the computerized numerical control and robotics. He was an instructor. Those people remember that Jimmy was just a mere child back in 1984. And he left, went into private sector employment, came back to ICC for 18 months. Returned to ICC when he worked at Tecumseh, and Jimmy had a long career at Tecumseh, where I first met him. I believe he was there 15 years. He began his third term of service with ICC in 2007. Some of you know that the college entered into a consortium with 5 colleges and got a grant from the state, and through that employed several people who were industry-specific trained to, and Jimmy was one of those 3 people that's hired and provided a strategic service to industry throughout the region, 28 counties in those since 2007. He was an active member while he was working in industry and at ICC, was an active member in the American Welding Society and the Society of Manufacturing Engineers. He has 3 daughters, Jamie, Shannon, and Mandy, and 7 grandchildren. When Jimmy retires, y'all just need to know this unique individual. He is such a Renaissance person. He's going to split his time between Florida and his home here in the area. Those of us that know Jimmy, we know a lot. Okay, he rides his motorcycle a lot. He's a pretty cool dude, I just have to tell you. He's a great cook. And when he at least once a week or so at the coffee station, Jimmy is going to come in with a dish. It might be a breakfast dish, or he'll send word out we have soup. But whatever it is, he's got a lot of spices in it because it's hot. When I asked my assistant, I said, "What does it taste like today?" She said, "Sweat's on my forehead today," you know. He's a grill master for the Belden cookouts when we have our little occasions out there. He is also an exceptional host, his friends tell me, and takes great pride in the food and the hospitality that he has at his home. And we at the Belden Center are going to miss Jimmy Belk. He's an exceptional individual, and we really appreciate his contributions to the college, which are really too numerous to name, but he has great expertise, and he's like most everybody else that's retiring, Dr. Hester. He's going to be in demand. He's going to have a hard time retiring because people are going to want him to come in and be a part of their organization, and I would think he'll be back doing some adjunct work for us. So, Jimmy, if you will come up, and I'll follow the rest of them. We'll give you an opportunity to say something, and then I have this.
Good evening. That's about as fine of an introduction as money can buy. It cost me $100. I figure he did such a good job, he's gonna hit me up for another 25 after this thing's over with, too. But I've been in the workforce for about 56 years. 30 of that was in industry. I guess about 6 or 7 of those were in business for myself, and the rest of it has been with ICC. And I have been associated with a lot of people in the 56 years that I've been working. The people that I've been associated with at Etowah Community College are the finest people that I know of. And They say retirement's gonna be great, I hope so, but I know I'm gonna miss the people at ICC. And I thank ICC for allowing me to be of service to them for these years. Thank you.
This is the Jimmy Bell Certificate of Service for outstanding service and contributions to the college. We thank you, we appreciate it. And Jimmy, by the way, I just want you to know you're gonna have your brick out there too. It's gonna show up. It's gonna have your name on it.
Thank you, sir.
So, thank you.
Well, it is my pleasure to recognize Mr. Gillentine, who has been Director of Bands for almost 12 years. I do have to say that Mr. Gillentine walked into my office about the second month that I was on the job to give me his letter of retirement. And when you left the office, I started screaming for Miss Ann because I thought you were pranking me. He also told me the days that he had left in vacation, and it was about 7 days after band tryout. So I had a moment of panic. I really didn't think you were serious, but after calling around, it seemed like you were dedicated to make this decision, and I'm very proud for you. I'm very proud of all the work that you've done under your leadership. The marching band has grown to over 300 members. You have been dedicated to the ICC summer band camps that have had over 500 participants. I am a band geek myself. I understand the dedication, the long hours that you've put into the program. Everyone speaks so highly of the dedication and the work that you've put into this program, and we really appreciate you. Brian and Susan live in Amory. They have 2 children, Aubrey and Corbin, and everyone speaks to your dedication to your family and to your sons. And when asked, what do you do for fun, it's watching your children play baseball. So please come on up and tell us a few words, and I will present you with your plaque.
I'm pretty much a nonverbal person, and Dr. Cole labeled me with that several years ago. But I would like to thank Dr. Cole and Mr. Eaton for all their support. It takes a lot of money to run a band program like ICC has, and I realize that. And they always gave us what we needed to be the best and the largest in the state, so I really appreciate that a lot. I also want to thank Dr. Bunch for taking a chance on me. She was on the committee when I got hired, and I know a close friend of hers was also one of the people that they were interviewing, and she took a shot on me, and I appreciate that a lot. I've enjoyed the friendship that I've had with you and Will, and I got to know Russell a lot because of baseball too, so I really appreciate that a lot. I want to thank Susan for putting up with me, especially on those late nights when I'm coming home from a ball game at 11:30, and I call her and say, can you keep me up till I get home, please? So she supported me the whole time. ICC's always been a special place to me. I came here in '87 as a student, and my best friend came with me. I hope I don't get emotional. My freshman year, I lost my sister while I was at ICC to leukemia, and there was a lot of people here, staff, teachers, friends, that helped me get through that. And my best friend was my roommate, and a year later when we went to Ole Miss together, he got killed in a car wreck. So the connection I have here is really strong, and I've always wanted to have the opportunity to come back and give a little bit back to ICC because of what I went through as a student and the support that I received here all those years ago. So it's always been, I put on my resignation letter that it was my dream job, and it was. It's where I wanted to be, and I'm extremely thankful for the opportunity. I want to thank everybody that's helped us in the business office, and Larry Boggs, Mandy Miller, Diane Nichols for putting up with me, Housing for dealing with me with band camp because that is a big deal, and everyone else has helped support our band program. It's been a special 11 and a half years for me, and I'm going to miss it. I look forward to the future, and I look forward to watching the band as well in the future too. So thanks very much.
This is presented to Brian Gillentine in appreciation for loyal and dedicated service to Itawamba Community College from July 21st, 2005 to June 30th, 2016. Thank you.
It is very, very difficult for me to think of Etowah Community College without Dr. Tom Hester on staff. Dr. Hester has been around for a while, and I think the way that I would describe his tenure here, Dr. Cole and Mr. Eaton, is quiet. He took students, they graduated, they passed their board exam, they went to work. It worked out exactly as it's supposed to. And much of that occurred because of Dr. Hester's involvement, his leadership, his dedication to his students. Of course, he served as program director for the Physical Therapy Assistant Program, and he's retiring after 25 years of service. He began his career at ICC in 1991, and he actually started the PTA program and has served as its first and only program director. He's a master teacher, and through his work, he brought the PTA program and the college both honor and distinction. Tom and his wife, Dr. Charlotte Hester, will begin a new chapter of their life in Mobile, Alabama. So, Dr. Hester, if you'll come forward, please, and make a few comments.
Well, I was sitting on the front row with Jerry Center, so that's made my day. And Will Kohlmeyer came up to pay his respects, and Jerry said, "Why did we let you in this building?" And Will said, "Do you see what I had to put up with?" And they said it was a love-hate relationship. And that made me think of a love-hate relationship that I've had for a while, with 25 years as an increment of time. I know my first birthday where I really felt old was 25. And I thought, I'm a quarter of a century years old. So I realized then I was going to mark time passing in increments of 25 years. But it was that same year, though, that I started PT school, which introduced me to a profession that's given Charlotte and I so many blessings, and me as well professionally, than I could even begin to list. So I, too, am very blessed. And now it's been 25 years since the PTA program began here at ICC. And with its infancy, it's true of any PTA program, any program. The incubation had been for several years, and Dr. Ron Phillips was my first boss, and he had worked with area practitioners and administrators at the hospital to seek licensure for physical therapist assistants in the state. So it's an example of ICC looking at the needs of the community and making sure that those needs were met. And so that's the reason there's a program here at ICC. 25 years later, I returned to those fickle feelings about 25 years, the good and the bad, the love-hate relationship with 25 years, and I find myself at retirement really looking forward to spending some time with Charlotte. We've been traveling 2 different states in the past year, and she's got some new responsibilities at the University of Mobile, and so I'm excited for her and excited for our opportunities we'll have there. But then I look back at ICC, of course, and I know how blessed I have been to have been given the opportunities, first with Gail Boland as our clinical coordinator, and then for 17, 18 years, Dr. Cheryl Ware, who will be the program director. And I believe that we've been able to make some contributions to our profession that are meaningful to us, and that brings me pleasure. I'll be forever grateful for the opportunities, and I thank you for it. Appreciate it.
Asked to read this, presented to Tom Hester, an appreciation for a loyal and dedicated service to Etowah Community College, 7/1/91 through 6/30/2016. Congratulations. Appreciate it. I have one other candidate, Mr. Jim Newell. He's program director for our respiratory therapy technology program. Jim is retiring after 31 years of service, and he also taught American government for 21 years. Jim came to ICC in 1986, where he began his career as a clinical director for the respiratory therapy program. Mr. Newell was instrumental in bringing a struggling respiratory therapy program from obscurity to national prominence when the program was recognized for leading the country in graduation rate and board exam pass rates. Jim has received many teaching awards while at ICC. He's a master teacher, and he leaves behind a significant legacy of student success. Jim plans to continue working part-time as a respiratory therapist. His wife, Annis, is also a respiratory therapist, and I think they're going to travel even more than they have in the past. And I would like to also comment, Jim came to Etowamba about 7 months after I started work, so we kind of grew up together in the respiratory therapy program. Back in the day, we had to work a lot of clinical on the side to keep our license going, and Jim and I used to drive to Le Bonheur's Children's Hospital on weekends, did that for quite a while, about a weekend a month, and we'd work about 48 hours straight. And we'd drive back and say, we're not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then we get to work that next Monday and would have our paycheck and we'd say, we'll do it one more time. And we kind of one more timed it for about 2 or 3 years. We drove to Kansas City together, I think 1 weekend a month for a year and a half to work on our degrees. And so Jim and I have a lot of travel time together. And so Jim, proud of you, happy for you. If you'll come forward, please.
I'd just like to say thank you. ICC does mean a lot to me. I grew up with ICC. When I came here, I was 25 years old, and a lot of my students were older than I was, and some thought I was a student walking around campus. I'm just thankful for that opportunity and what ICC has done for me. I think it's given me the life of the opportunities that I've been able to have, and I don't think I would be able to do that without this college to provide the means to do that. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm also grateful for the fact that probably in the last 32 years, I've figured we probably have graduated about maybe 500 respiratory therapists in the state of Mississippi. And that's a real contribution to, I feel a real contribution to that I had a part in that, that I know that there are at least 500 respiratory therapists working in hospitals, clinics, and throughout the state, and even in other states across the country, that had an opportunity to have a career, a professional career, and I had a part of that. Last, I want to thank Mr. Plunkett. Mr. Plunkett helped me grow when I came. He guided me. Mr. Plunkett, as you know, was a master teacher himself, and I wouldn't have been able to be successful without his guidance and leadership. So I'm certainly thankful for that. And I'd like to say to Mr. Denton, I think the program's in good hands, and I'm looking forward for good things from you to take it to the next level. Thank you.
Plaque reads presented to James Newell in appreciation for loyal and dedicated service to Etowamba Community College, 5/1/1986, 6/30/2016. Congratulations. Thank you.
I walked into Dr. Peters' office yesterday, I think, and had a long list, a full page of her accomplishments and the things that I was going to say. And she leaned up on her desk, she pointed her finger at me, and she said, "Don't you dare. You make it brief." So, Dr. Dorothy Peters has been an educator for 34 years. And the last 18 of those has been with Itawamba Community College in our Business and Office Technology program. And she too, I like that phrase, Mr. Plunkett, she too is a master teacher. And when I went out searching for descriptors for her, her students would say things like kind and sweet, but the one I loved the most was actually I got from one of your student evaluation of instruction, and the young lady said, "I love her to pieces." And I think that's probably a pretty good explanation. The recurring theme when I asked faculty to give me little tidbits, they all said the same thing: we're going to miss her smile. So Dr. Peters is a very special lady to all of us, and Dr. Peters, you're leaving in May, and we're going to tear the building down. So I went ahead and moved out today. So Dr. Peters, if you'll come up, say a few words.
Wow. He is obedient. Can you believe that? Thank you so much, Barry, for those comments. And I really meant it. He was talking about all these things and how protocol would dictate. No, that's not me. That's not who I am. You can tell them I came, I was here, and now I'm leaving. And hopefully I did my job. But I must say it is an honor to have reached this point in my life's journey. Even though it is bittersweet, it's good to be here. When Barry mentioned how long I've been in the classroom, and I tend to get emotional, that's why I don't like to do these things, 34 years. It seems like just a few days ago, I was graduating from Shannon High School and getting ready to go out on the first big venture of my life, going to Jackson, Tennessee to attend Lane College on my own, being my own boss, setting my own curfew, the whole bit. My mind went back to that time especially because when I left high school, I was declaring to our librarian, Mrs. Hoyt Smith, which some of you may know, that I would never, ever be a teacher. And I can still see that's what you think, smirk on her face. Okay. And here I am now, after 34 years of not only being a teacher, but being a counselor, a psychologist, and a confidant with an ever-handy box of tissues sitting on my desk or in the lab, a custodian of lost textbooks, flash drives and CDs, a mother threatening to bring out the bat or to beat my students with the proverbial wet noodle, sometimes a psychic, trying to figure out the best way to reach the diverse individuals who are looking to me for guidance, and always, hopefully, an encourager and a motivator, letting students know that they are special, they are capable, and they can do it. And thankfully, some listen to me. Well, as we learn from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. So now it's time to close this chapter of my life's book and open another. So what will I do now? Sleep without an alarm clock? Wear clothes that don't have to be classroom appropriate. I have a lot of jeans and ICC t-shirts ready. Okay. Spend some days or even months getting to know my recliner and my Afghan. Travel, especially to the beach, and just enjoy life. But even more importantly, I plan to spend a lot of quality time with my mom, who lives with me. She's now 99 years old, which is such a blessing. And I'm looking forward to continuing to take care of her and making some more memories with her. So it is with deep gratitude that I look back over my years at ICC. And before I go on, I did not thank the people who are here with me. I don't have a lot of family in the area who are able to be here for this occasion, but I do have my cousin / sister, because we're 2 weeks apart, been together forever, Bernadine Connor. My awesome pastor, the Reverend Dr. Cheryl Pinson, and her husband, one of my former pastors, Reverend Charles Pinson. My partner in crime, Tammy Lauderdale, that spent countless times with, doing some wonderful things, making wonderful memories. But I am so glad that I entered a profession dedicated to assisting students of all ages to achieve their potential and to find their best selves. So as I leave here, I hope I've done a good job. I hope I've been a good example and assisted them in meeting their goals. I'm definitely taking them and so many of you with me because you're in my heart. So to President Eaton, ICC family, I wish you all the best, and I thank you for the opportunity. I thank you for the journey, and I thank you for the memories.
Presented to Dorothy Peters in appreciation for loyal and dedicated service, August 1st, 1998 to May the 31st, 2016.
Well, I think if you were to ask Joan Summers if this day was going to happen, she probably would have said she wasn't sure if I was capable of doing this, because Dean Gillespie and I have tried to break into Tim Center's office numerous times to destroy her paperwork. We do not want to lose her. Joan has been at the college for 18 years. Her most recent job has been as e-learning lead online for mathematics. It has been such a pleasure to work with you. I have a hard time looking at her. I have never really worked with anyone so dedicated to students and just your profession. I would have to go numerous times. Joan, it's time to go home. It's time to go home. And it didn't matter. Come in on days off, constantly trying to improve the processes, and her background in technology and constantly trying to improve what we're doing to make things better for our students. And it didn't matter if it were her students or any student, her door was always open. And to watch her interact with a student and struggling with math and just watch them grow with her over a semester was amazing. And it's just a pleasure to work with you. And then you would walk into the break room and she had been making homemade biscuits and sausage and feeding us all in her spare time. I mean, she's just an amazing woman, and it's been such a pleasure to work with you. And please don't leave us. She does. Married to Stacy. I will get to my notes, I promise. Okay. Married to Stacy, has 3 children, Wayne, Anthony, and Christina, 2 daughter-in-laws, Brittany and Tiffany, 5 grandchildren, Aiden, Braden, Kirsten, Lexi, and Rowan, ages from 1.5 to 8. Very passionate about her family. And I know that your future plans, we've got a mission trip coming up to Canada to spend time with your son. And I know family's very important to you, and I'm very proud that you are making this decision, but I am very sorry to lose you. So come on up, say a few words. I'll try not to cry too loudly in the corner over here, okay?
You already got me
I
crying.
know.
She had to mention the mission trip. what they've sprung on me now is we're going to be there for about 5 days. I'm to feed a team of 20 people 3 meals a day in a strange country in a kitchen that's not equipped with anything. So, teaching should be a piece of cake after that, right? But I am thankful that Stacy's here with me tonight. And I just wanted to say that these 18 years have just flown by. It's been a happy time. A time where I got to give my best to a job that I loved. A time where I learned a great deal. The past few years have taught me the value of having a positive and enthusiastic group of coworkers. I have witnessed colleagues giving tirelessly of their time to help one student. I want to acknowledge how important the faculty is in making ICC a happier and more productive place. I also need to acknowledge just how much I've been shaped by my colleagues and friends. You've helped me survive divorce, rebellious teenagers, illnesses, surgeries, and aging parents. You've celebrated my marriage, the marriages of my children, the births of my grandchildren. There's a pretty red azalea planted at the corner of my home. That's a reminder of how much you've cared for me. There is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. So many of you have been a Proverbs 8:14 friend to me. I have a myriad of experiences, too many to mention, that have impacted my life in a meaningful and memorable way. I've learned that it takes a group of very special people to commit to their jobs on a daily basis, even when the going gets tough. And believe me, we've all experienced that over the years. Some days I couldn't wait to get to work. Some days I felt like I never left. And some days I had to remind myself that I work for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and not for ICC. I've learned that most students are giving their best to get an education, and they really appreciate what we do. That our buildings and grounds are maintained on a daily basis by a group of smiling and cheerful individuals who choose to be happy. That administration will try to provide what the faculty needs to be successful in the classroom. I've learned that if your computer is broken, Kevin and Kobe will fix it. If you have a network access problem, Jeff will solve it. If you get your canvas shell really messed up, Martha, Stacy, and Tequila will bail you out. I've learned that the peals of laughter I hear from the staff room reflect the vibrant and happy staff that we're fortunate to have here. I've learned that a problem discussed while walking isn't so big after all. I've learned that I never know how an act of kindness to a student can impact their life. I've learned that the surveys that we complete, they really are read. And action is taken to correct the problems we report. In conclusion, I need to add that it is impossible to keep the Purvis copier free of paper jams and filled with paper and toner. That after you leave the Fulton campus in the afternoon, someone will go into Tech Ed 212, turn on the lights, and bother the president. The offices across from the cafeteria and the Student Support Service building in Tupelo are noisy. That offices are temporary. I've had 8 different ones. That as soon as you learn to use a piece of software, it will be upgraded or replaced. That an office works better with an L-shaped desk, and that a letter to Santa Claus will sometimes get you one. That you have to get here early to get your favorite parking place. That some people take more than their allotted time in faculty meetings. That the members of the Tupelo Faculty Association are really good cooks. That figuring out all of the advising rules is like nailing Jell-O to a wall. that every stack of papers to grade does have a bottom, and that even administrators go to the wrong campus for a meeting from time to time. Seriously, I'm extremely thankful for the role that everyone has played throughout the years. They have been happy years and years that I will always remember fondly. May God bless ICC, and may God bless you.
This is presented to Joan Summers in appreciation for loyal and dedicated service to Itawamba Community College from July 1, 1998 to May 31st, 2016. Thank you. It is my pleasure to recognize Dr. Tasha Timms. She's been here since August 2010, and she is one of our favorite biological science teachers. Don't know why, because she has so much energy. The students just love her. Her classes are always the first to fill up. She actually is one of our recent recipients of ICC's Award for Excellence for earning her doctorate in biology from USM. She's a published author in the Journal of Mississippi Academy of Sciences. She's leaving us, unfortunately, to pursue a lifelong dream to teach at a university level. She's going to William Carey. She does currently live in Fulton with her husband Greg, and she is mother to 3 children, Addie 11, Macy and Breck, who are almost 8. So if you'll come and say a few words.
Okay, well, it was 7 years ago that I sat down at what is now Homer's with lunch with Dr. Cole for lunch and conversation, and what I didn't realize at the time was perhaps an introduction. And I remember him looking me straight in the eye, and he said, Dr. Timms, there's a different kind of people here at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And I was already scared because I was coming to a region that I did not know, but now I was frightened at what the region held. But he was indeed correct. They are the kind of people who take the dreams of others and they help them become realities. They are the kind of people who take people in as strangers but release them as family. They are the kind of people who invest in one another so much that they make you realize that you too can change the world. ICC has a motto here that the best start here, and I use this regularly in my class. Although my journey did not start here, and of course it will not end here, but the impact that this great institution made will always be held here. Thank you.
This is to certify that Dr. Tasha Timms is hereby awarded the Certificate of Service for outstanding service and contributions to the college as biology instructor from August 10th, 2009 to May 13th, 2016. Good luck to you. Thank you.
I was told before the ceremony began that, of course, with Coach Paul Johnson's all the accolades that he's accumulated over the years, that I was reminded that he had already retired one time, and to speed things up. So what I did is I went and I looked through some stuff right quick, and that is correct, but it seems that most of the success and the accolades that he has garnered happened after that 2004 retirement time. So anyway, Coach Johnson, very special man here at the college, beloved by so many. And the connection I have, of course, when I came to school here in 1978, Coach Eaton was the head football coach. Coach Johnson was assistant football coach, and through his coaching career here, which I began in 1973, he coached football, he coached tennis,
He coached track, and he coached cross country. So over his career, along with the coaching responsibilities, he taught the HPR classes and then served as the HPR chair. And I see some coaches out there now, but it wasn't until after he retired and got rid of some of those meaningless responsibilities that he began winning all of these things athletically. So evidently some of the other things got in the way of coaching, didn't they, Coach Johnson? When you look at Coach Johnson's career, he's been named Coach of the Year either on the state level or region level numerous times, the most recent being in 2015. The championships that he's won, he has 15 state titles, 10 on the men's side of the game, 5 on the women's side of the game, 10 region titles with 7 on the men's side, 3 on the women's side, and just numerous of top 20 finishes at the national tournament. And what a lot of people need to understand that in the community college athletic system, we don't all play by the same rules nationally. These schools that he was competing against nationally, they had no limitations as far as international out-of-state players, where according to our state associational rules, we were playing on a different level there, but he was able to go out there and compete nationally. Of course, you can see his picture on the wall here being recognized in our Institutional Hall of Fame. He's recognized at the MACJC at the state level in the Hall of Fame, and also in the NJCAA Men's Athletic Hall of Fame for all of his accomplishments. Not only has he been recognized by the community college systems, but also outside of that as far as the Mississippi Tennis Association and other organizations. I have a personal connection with Coach Johnson along with my time here back in the 70s, but he cost me a lot of money. I don't know if y'all realize or have ever been involved in that sport, tennis. And when you've got 2 daughters that start playing tennis, and then their mentor here says, in order to get better, you've got to get out and compete. Compete means the rackets and the outfits and going to the tournaments and staying in motels. And it cost me a lot of money, but I have memories because of what you did for my children that I'll never forget. But for everything that you have done here for the college coach and for the thousands that you have touched over the 40-plus years here, we want to thank you for everything. And if you would, come up here and share a few words with us.
Aren't you glad it's about over with? Try to be brief. A couple things I want to point out. One thing is my wife, Brenda, around 47 years. That's hard for me to keep up with, too. But mother fell yesterday and broke her hip. So that's where my wife is today. And have a daughter in Atlanta that obviously couldn't make it, and a son in Washington, D.C. that couldn't make it. But I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to retire for the second time. I'm glad some of my friends here that came the first time and now have come back. That's friendship, isn't it? Come 2 of these things. But I got to point out, too, along with Mike Eaton, reason I'm here is, again, a Hall of Fame coach, Ben Jones, back there. He hired me, too. So he brought a few people. Yeah. But again, I like I say, try to keep it brief. 42 years at ICC, IJC, ICC. This is really my life. ICC is just my life. And it probably, it's always going to be that way. Like I said, when I retired the first time, you you didn't, you know, when I retired the first time, all I felt was, now I'm going to get to do, you know, what I really enjoy doing. But this time, you know, it's for real. So feels a little different this time. This very different, very different. But again, you know, I could, you know, we could stay up here all day naming the people that's been responsible for my success. But I just, you know, as I sit here and look back, you know, obviously we've done pretty good in tennis over the years. Won a few state football championships too. But you know what you really look back on now is just is the people, the friendships, the relationships that you made with, like you say, just countless number of student and student athletes that, you know, I still just enjoy, you know, talking to some of them, you know, and see how they're doing, you know, and then just all the faculty and staff that I've known over the years. You know, I remember those first group, you know, when you come in as a youngster, you know, and you look around at the faculty and staff, more you just look up to them and you know, you really look for their guidance and now the faculty staff here that I've come to know and love, you know. So again, it's been great. ICC is always going to be part of my life, and I'm ready to sit back. You know, let people ask me what I'm going to do. I bought me a new lounge chair recliner, and some people know about my home theater room. I'm going to hang around in there a little more. But again, thank you, and appreciate it.
This one says the same thing everybody else's did. Paul Johnson, appreciation for loyal and dedicated service to Etowah Community College, 7/1/73 to 5/31/2016. Thank you.
Wait a minute, I'm not retiring yet. Oh, Mary Frances, not yet. Okay. It has been a wonderful afternoon. As we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of tears, there's a lot of reflections, and there's a lot of good memories. And I certainly hope you have enjoyed it. We love all of you. We want you to come back and see us often. One thing I need to do is recognize my partner in life back there, Marsha Lee. Wait, there you go. Give that First Lady wave right there. Thank you for being here. Kim, have you got all the pictures? Is there any direction on anything that we need to go? Okay, thank you. Then what we will do, you're invited to continue to enjoy our refreshments and visit. And thank you for being in attendance. You are dismissed.